Today we are diving back in the interneting series, and the internet can't stop talking about the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni situation. There has been a lot of buzz about it. From left to right to center, people are just weighing in from everywhere. Legal experts, cultural critics, I've seen political pundits, everyone in between. But you know what? I want to take a different approach. Instead of analyzing the legalities or the politics, I want to look at it through a biblical lens. Stay with me. I want to make one thing clear. I'm not here to take sides. I truly wish the best for everyone. My goal is truly to extract some wisdom, some timeless principles that we can all apply in our own lives, because whether we're in the public eye or just living our daily lives, the way we handle integrity and the way we handle truth and character, it all matters. Let me prove it to you. So hear me out. It's just a thought. Now, before we dive in, let me introduce or reintroduce myself if you're new here. I'm Gigi. This is the Hear Me Out Just a Thought podcast. This is where I just love to explore current events and faith and wisdom. I may be faceless because I no way I'm putting my face on the internet, but I am full of opinions and curiosity, and I'm also curious to know what you think. I'm just all about growing into better people each day. So if that sounds good to you, subscribe. Let's do it together. So what is going on? What is this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni situation? Why does it matter here on this channel? Let's just quickly recap. This is what I gathered. Maybe I got something wrong. Let me know. But from what I have, gathered, here's a quick rundown. Blake Lively, the actress, and Justin Baldoni, the actor, they are caught up in a legal battle that involves allegations and contracts and behind the scenes, what am I going to call that? Behind the scenes business dealings. And so far, the details are still unfolding, but what is clear is that the issues that once seemed private are now front and center for the world to see. I can't believe how much buzz this is making. Everyone is talking about it. And because everyone is talking about it, I'm talking about it because there is wisdom for sure. The whole what's done in private is coming out. This is the way things often go, which brings me to today's lesson. Should I call it a lesson? A reminder for all of us. That is, again, that what is done in the dark will not always stay in the dark. Let's go read Luke, the Bible, in the book of Luke. And I will pause here to say, if you're not a Christian, you might be thinking, okay, what does this have to do with me? My claim is that here's the thing. Whether you believe in the Bible or not, wisdom is wisdom. Wisdom is timeless. It's always true now, forever. It's true if you're in America, in Canada, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, wherever you might be. Wisdom is wisdom. And I would argue, challenge me on this, I would argue that there is not a single piece of good advice in this world that is not already in scripture. And you know who could use some good advice? Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. So why not take what's useful if you're not a Christian and see if it works in your life? That being said, going back to Luke, in Luke chapter 12, verses 2 and 3, it says that there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What you have said in the dark will be heard in the daylight, and what you have whispered in the ear in the inner rooms will be proclaimed from the roofs. Dun, dun, dun. I think this lawsuit is proof of that. I can't think of a better fitting verse or a better fitting passage than this one. Whatever went on behind closed doors there, whether honest mistakes or intentional wrongs, is now just public news. And the conversations, again, like I mentioned, the contracts, the decisions, the manipulation or alleged manipulation, things that were supposed to stay private have found their way into the light, into your feed, into my feed, into your television, into my television. And I think that can be a warning for all of us. We are not celebrities. Maybe some of us are. I'm not sure if there's a single celebrity is hearing this, but just regular people. And we, even us, can't assume that our secrets will stay buried. And the way that we act in private will eventually shape our reputation, our professional reputation and personal reputation. So you know what? I want to ask you, I want to ask me, if everything in our lives were brought to light today, would we be proud of what's revealed? Or would we scramble to just like cover our backs and just be ashamed? Which leads me to the second reminder that faithfulness in small things leads to faithfulness in big things. One thing I keep finding when I'm looking at this situation and the commentaries on it, the videos, the text messages, everything, is that what both actors and their entourage, should I say, have done way back when matters today. The way they were treating folks when they weren't superstars is coming out today in 2025. The things that they have said on smaller stages are coming to the big stage. The actions, good or bad, that they have done when they were being filmed unknowingly are being compared to how they act when they are being filmed knowingly. And so I think it reminds me that faithfulness in small things leads to faithfulness in big things, because if we already had good habits and behaviors when we were, I'll say no one, but we're never no one. I'll just use the term for imagery. The way we were acting and the way we conduct ourselves with integrity and honesty and faithfulness when we're no one will help us be a good person when we are someone. Does that make sense? Let me just go read the word because it says it better than me. So still in the book of Luke, and by the way, if you're a non-Christian and you're still here after I have read a Bible verse, kudos to you. Hit the like button to let me know you're still with me. So in Luke, we read in chapter 16, let me bring it up, on verse 10, that whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. I think this lawsuit, and is there one or two lawsuits? I think there's two. Anyways, these lawsuits also, I think they highlight how small compromises can really just snowball into major conflicts. And maybe it just started with minor oversights or a mistake or half truth. But what seemed like small decisions way back when, like I said at the time, has now led to very serious allegations and a, shall I call it, public spectacle, like a public spectacle. And this is not to shame the celebrities, because we do it too. This is us. This is all of us. The movie was called It Ends With Us, but I always say on this channel, it starts with us. We tell ourselves that, sometimes, hey, a small lie doesn't matter, or bending the truth won't hurt anyone, right? Or cutting corners is just part of the game, or this is just the industry I'm in. But habits, good or bad, they grow. That's the issue here. They grow. If we're honest and faithful in the small things, we will be in the big things. And mark my words when I tell you, whoever wins this lawsuit or whoever comes out cleanest will be the person that at the core is the cleanest, at the core has acted with integrity and honesty and truth. Because when we are not those things, well, it eventually catches up with us. Let me know if you have gone through a situation where you thought you were being slick, you thought you were being safe with your bad habits, you thought you couldn't get caught, and you embarrassingly got caught. Let me know. I think I did. I can't think of a thing right now, but I'm sure I'll find an example. Yes, I do have one. I'll share it at the end. So my, I guess, call to action is for all of us is to pause and reflect. Are we being faithful in the little things? Are we living with integrity even when no one is watching? Is there anything in our life that we wouldn't want exposed, and we could take the opportunity to, for example, take it to God now, not tomorrow, now, before it gets exposed in a way that we can't control? And so let's really talk about my example. Should I at the end or now? Let me share it now. So when I learned this lesson. It stuck with me, and this is how I know I really learned it. I remember at one point when I was maybe 19 years old, I was coming back from school and I was riding the bus home, which back then, my habit was to go to the back of the bus and kind of either listen to music or talk to one of my friends as I went home. So I get into the bus, I sit there, and I get a phone call from my friend, one of my very good friends. Now, mind you, I was back then, and I am still the kind of person that when I do enter in a room or in a bus or in a store, anywhere really where I have something to do, I go straight to do that thing. I do not necessarily scan my surroundings to see who is there. This is important. So I get in the bus, go to the back of the bus, and I get a phone call from my friend. My friend starts telling me a story about another person that we both have in common. And mind you, this person that we had in common had always been very nice to me. This person was, we didn't know each other very well, but the little I knew, I enjoyed. And so my friend on the phone starts recounting a story of what happened with this other person. We get into gossiping about this other person. We get into doing what 19-year-old girls do. And I remember participating in the gossip, but feeling a little bit uneasy about it, feeling like I'm speaking ill of a person who has never done anything bad to me. So the conversation lasted about, I would say, 10 minutes. We end the conversation, I hang up, and I kid you not, I lift my eyes up because I was maybe one stop away from my home. I lift my eyes up, and the very person that we were talking about was right. This is to tell you how bad I am, first of all, with looking at my environment, but also the whole time that person was hearing what I was saying, because I did mention her name. They remained calm, they remained composed, but I could see in their eyes that they were so disappointed in me. One, nothing I was saying was false, right? Maybe it would have been gossip. It was gossip for sure. But some things I shared were not false. I was telling the truth, but were really not wise of me to put out like that. I remember the shame I felt for doing that has hunted me for years. I remember that when we talk about regrets we have in life, that is one of my biggest regrets, because the core of me is not that. I felt kind of pressured to fit in. I felt kind of pressured to gossip because my other friend was gossiping. And this is not to throw shade at my other friend. It's just to show how sometimes we know better and we choose to not do better. And it hunts us. We are ashamed because not only did I feel shame before I knew that this person was in front of me, I felt triple the shame when I saw when I saw that she was there and I could see in her eyes, that person, that I had hurt her for no reason at all. I have regretted it. Of course, I was 19, whatever. I have gotten over it. I have taken the decision in my life to not gossip. It's really not pretty to gossip. But the feeling I had was, if I had only known how to control my mouth and be a good person and not talk bad about somebody who has never done anything bad to me, I wouldn't have never been caught doing that. If I had learned to speak good of people that are good, and I had done that in private, or thinking I was in private, and that person was in front of me hearing me talk good about her, it would have been a different story. That's the one fast story I can think of. Let me know if you have, like I said, gone through something similar. So let me talk about how we can apply this wisdom. The first thing to remember is all of these things, anytime I do a series on the interneting and celebrities and politics and all of that, yes, it is entertainment for us because it's celebrities, but there's always something to retain and apply to our lives. And so I put 3 things on my little paper here to apply this wisdom. One is for us to live with transparency. If we are making choices that we wouldn't want others to know about, if we are doing things that we wouldn't want to be caught doing, maybe it's time to rethink those things. We can correct ourselves. We can strive for integrity and goodness in all things. It's not about learning to hide things better. It's not about learning to look at our surroundings and scan our surroundings better. It's about learning to do good. For me, it was about learning to stop gossiping. It was about learning to, when you feel like you are doing something bad, don't do it. Don't let the pressure get the best of you. Don't let yourself do things when you know better. 2, surround ourselves with wise counsel. Surround ourselves with wise counsel. You know who could use wise counsel right about now? I think it's Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. And let me show you again, like I mentioned, the Bible always has all of the best counsel. The book of Proverbs, and if you have been on this channel for a minute, you know how much I love the book of Proverbs. It's full of gems. If you have missed my episode that I made about the book of Proverbs and why everyone, Christians and non-Christians alike, should read it, go ahead and find it. I think it's in the very first few videos that I made. So in Proverbs 11:14, we are reminded that where there is no guidance, a people falls. But in abundance of counselors, there is safety. But of course, it has to be wise counsel, right? It has to be good people influencing us. Are we seeking wisdom with the people that we surround ourselves with? Or are we just listening to people who tell us what we want to hear? Are we surrounding ourselves with people who make us grow and do better? Or are we surrounding ourselves with folks that kind of nourish that fleshly side of us? How about if I had surrounded myself with folks who don't like to gossip? How about if I surrounded myself with folks who called me to pray with me on the phone when we are riding home? What if I surrounded myself with folks who called me to say some good things about other folks? Can we surround ourselves with wise counsel? And number 3, and this is what I wish I had done so many years ago when I was 19 in a bus ride home, that I didn't do, but that I have learned to do ever since, is just to repent quickly. It's just to make amends and correct situations whenever we can. And when we mess up, because we all do, let's just be quick to own it, to confess it to the other person if we are due to confess it to God, and to make things right with other folks. Like I'm mentioning, I have definitely lost contact with that person. It was very, very long ago. But if I was to meet her today in the streets, the first thing I would tell her is, hey, I am sorry. I knew better. I spoke for no reason about you, and I am sorry. And I'm sure she forgave me in her heart, because she was a good person. I can't say it enough. This was a good person. But it has eaten me alive to think that I knew better. Never feel too bad for things you do when you're still young and dumb, but do feel bad and do restrain yourself from doing things when you actually know better. Like, choose to do good is what I'm trying to say. So it's just far better to deal with things in private before they become public issues. And I think this could apply to the lawsuit that we are witnessing. So that's kind of my take on it. I hope it makes sense what I'm saying. I hope for the folks that are non-Christian listening to this, you come out of here with a little bit of curiosity towards what the Bible teaches that can be applicable to you, even if you don't necessarily believe what we believe. And I think my lesson learned here is that we can't really control what, of course, happens in the news or in celebrity lawsuits. We kind of use it sometimes as entertainment and buzz and money-making things for legal counsels, but we can control our own lives. We can control how we live. And so let's choose to just walk in wisdom and walk in integrity and walk in truth. So that when the spotlight shines on us, who knows what can happen when the spotlight shines on us. And this is not, I'm not talking about the celebrity spotlight. I'm talking about just regular everyday truth coming out, whether in this life or before God, that we can just stand in confidence, that we can just be relaxed in knowing that we are not doing anything wrong. We are doing our very, very best. So that's my take on it. Let me know, first of all, if you have followed this Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively lawsuits. What have you heard about it? What is your opinion on it? But also, what do you retain from it? What is your takeaway from all of this? Now, of course, if this message has resonated with you and you know someone it could resonate with, hit the share button to send it to them and, just send them a little bit of encouragement. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more just faith-based perspectives on real life events on the interneting. There's always something on the internet. Let's just keep growing in wisdom together. So I will see you next.
What if your child's next breakthrough is just a page away? Introducing the Little Book of Big Thoughts. This gem is packed with 25 engaging lessons that spark curiosity and build wisdom for kids ages 5 to 10. From kindness to courage to authenticity and boldness, everything is in there. Perfect for bedtime, learning time, or anytime. Give your kids the gift of wisdom today. Available now on Amazon.